Good morning all. Today, myself, Shruti Peher, MSc Nursing first year student, is here to talk to you about techniques of chest physiotherapy and postural drainage. So till now, I have discussed about what is the definition, purposes, principles, indications and contraindications of the procedure. Now here, I have been assigned a patient. So now, we will see if there are any special indications, like we will see what are the progress report of the patient, how is the chest X-ray of the patient. We should see all of these, and if there is any position dependent oxygen changes in the patient or not. So after this, we have to make sure that we are providing right procedure to the right patient. So I will go to the patient and check his identity. So I will, if the patient is old enough, if the pediatric client is old enough to respond, I will ask his name. So what is his name? Or otherwise, I will check for the identification band. So here, neonates and infants usually have identification band at their wrist or at the shirt at their chest level. So after identification, I have to assess whether I can provide this procedure to this patient or not. For that, I have to do a physical assessment that includes inspection, palpation, percussion, auscultation and manipulation. So I here inspect whether the child is having any rib fracture, or flail chest. If I will look for any asymmetry, burns, scars or any surgical wounds. If there, the significance is because if there is any burn or any wound, then we are not able to provide percussion or vibration to that area. Also, if there is any surgical incision that I have, then I have to splint that surgical incision to decrease the pain and complications. So this is a very important step, that is physical assessment of the child, and we should perform it very diligently. After this, I have to look for any lines in the patient. So here I have a line here. So any tubes, any lines, we have to make sure that these lines do not interfere with the position that I am going to provide to this child. So after doing physical assessment and after making sure that the procedure can be accurately performed in this client, I will explain the procedure to the client as well as the family members. This step is also very important because the explanation will provide them the confidence and they will not get anxious on the sounds of percussion or by saying that I am performing suctioning or any other procedure that I have to perform. So to provide proper explanation, I will gain their confidence and I will decrease their anxiety, and also I will be able to gain their support during the procedure. So involving the parents and the child is an important step. After preparing the child, the family, I will look for the environment. So in environment, I have to provide privacy to the patient because chest percussion, vibration, these steps involve exposure of the chest and abdomen. So in case of school-going children or adolescent children, we have to provide privacy because they are very conscious regarding their body image. After providing privacy and preparation, pre-procedural considerations, I will go to prepare the articles. So here in the articles, here I have a big clean tray. In this, I have a kidney tray, paper bag, sputum mug. Here I have a sterile glove, a pair of sterile glove in case I need to perform suctioning, a suction catheter. So here I have an 8-French suction catheter. The suction catheter, you can decide which catheter to be taken based on the formula that I have taught you in the presentation. After this, I have a mucus extractor here, and this is a small cup for performing percussion. So small areas of the infants need small cups to percuss because hands are very large enough for that area, so we will use this mask to percuss that area. Next is, here I have a towel or a shirt like this because this will be used to cover the chest of the patient as percussion can never be provided on the bare skin. Next, here I have a hand sanitizer, an ambu bag in case any emergency condition is there, a pair of clean gloves, and at the head end, here I have a suction machine if I need to perform a suction, and oxygen for connecting to the ambu bag. Next, after arranging all the articles, I will perform hand wash. Here I am performing hand hygiene by using sanitizer. So we have to make sure that we follow all the 7 steps of hand hygiene, because providing a procedure to the patient, we have to make sure that we do not provide in that procedure any nosocomial infection to the client. So after properly doing hand hygiene, after washing my hands, I will wear a gown. Here I have a mask, so I will wear a mask, and I will wear a pair of clean gloves. It is a plain procedure, not a sterile one, so I will be wearing clean gloves. So PP is very important, because in the way of providing a proper procedure to the patient, we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. Next, after wearing the PPE, I will check for the pain level of the patient. So if pain level was there, then there are special indications or considerations that if pain is more, then I have to consult with the physician regarding any pain medication to be provided. Or if the patient is suffering from any chronic lung disorder, then I have to pre-oxygenate the child with 100% oxygen. Also, if the patient has been prescribed with certain bronchodilators or MDIs, then I have to provide or administer that before providing the chest physiotherapy and postural drainage. So now, I will instruct, before starting, the first procedure is diaphragmatic breathing. So if the patient is able to follow my commands, I will provide the patient with supine position and ask the patient to perform diaphragmatic breathing. This diaphragmatic breathing will relax the child, dilate the airways, and provide for the better drainage of secretions. After providing diaphragmatic breathing, I will be providing the position to the patient. So in my patient, if the anterior upper lobes are involved, I will provide a supine position so that all the secretions from this get drained down into the trachea. So position is provided, postural drainage position is provided based on the area of the lung involved. So here, if my anterior upper lobes are involved, then I will provide supine position to this client. After providing this position for postural drainage for 3 to 5 minutes, I will move to the next step. So first step is diaphragmatic breathing. Second step is position for postural drainage. Third step is percussion. So for percussion, I have to make a C shape in my hand, and with this C shape, I have to move my wrist freely like this. So a C shape with free wrist will provide a hollow sound. It should not be a snapping sound. A hollow sound should come. So in this infant, as the area is large, I will be using this mask to provide percussion. But before, the foremost step is to provide this shirt to the client. So I will be covering the infant with this shirt, because percussion, as I told, can never be performed on the bare skin. Okay. The shirt of the patient can also be used as this towel. Now, after doing this, I will percuss by using this mask from down to up, like this. Similarly, on the posterior side, I have to make sure that I do not percuss over the kidneys or directly over the spine. Here, I have to make sure that I do not percuss below the lower limbs onto the abdomen or onto the liver or spleen. So I have to make sure that only the rib cage is involved in the percussion. So here between the spine and the axilla I will percuss like this. So this has to be done for 1 to 2 minutes. For the sake of this video, I am not performing for 1 to 2 minutes at a go. So, but you have to remember that this should be done for 1 to 2 minutes. After percussion, I'll go for vibration. So for vibration, I will remove this shirt and then I have to vibrate by using the heels of my hands. So heels of the hands will be used to provide straight, downward, constant vibration to the client. If the chest area is large, so I will use 2 hands or a small heel can also be used. But while providing vibrations, I have to make sure that the patient, when I am providing vibration, patient is exhaling and not inhaling. So when the patient is breathing, I have to provide vibration. So I will be providing vibration. I am not vibrating right now because the patient is inspiring and I have provided no pressure to the area. When the patient is exhaling, I will provide a gentle downward vibration to that area. This vibration will cause, this energy will be transmitted to the bronchi. The secretions will be loosened and they will drain into the trachea. And after providing 3 to 4 vibrations, after providing vibrations for 3 to 4 exhalations, I will provide supine position to this client and encourage the client to expectorate by huffing or coughing. And the cough I will collect in this sputum. Next, if the patient is not able to cough, I have this mucus sucker here. So I will use this mucus extractor to suck all the secretions, any visible secretions if there are. Or I can also perform suctioning in the client if the patient is intubated. Next, after providing percussions and vibrations for 5 cycles, I will wait for the patient to relax. Now I will ask the patient that you have to perform abdominal breathing and relax yourself. Abdominal breathing by pursed lips so that proper oxygen is gained to the patient. After relaxation, I have to make sure that the indication of the procedure is resolved. For example, the mucus plugging was there and it is now resolved by checking the vital signs and the oxygen level and the auscultation of lung sounds, breath sounds. So if the indication is not resolved, I will repeat the procedure. If it is resolved, I will stop the procedure and document. Now, there are certain complications like when I am providing percussion or vibration and encouraging the patient to expectorate. If there is any hemoptysis, hematemesis, then I have to immediately stop the procedure. Also, if there is any chest pain, tachycardia, palpitations, so in those conditions also, I have to stop the procedure, stay with the patient, provide warmth, and then document the findings and the complications if there are. So this was about the procedure of positional drainage, postural drainage and chest physiotherapy. Hope you understood the procedure. After completing the procedure, I will replace all the articles. And now I will provide the position used for the postural drainage for 10 to 15 minutes. In my case, this position is supine. I have shown these positions in the PPT and I'll share the handouts with you, so you can refer to that for providing position. Here I have to mention one point, that all the positions cannot be given to all the children. So positions vary according to the condition of the child. For example, if my patient is suffering from cystic fibrosis and he is suffering from a condition called gastroesophageal reflux, so I cannot tilt the head of the patient because this may cause reflux or aspiration of the food. So this was all about the procedure. Next, I will go for replacing the articles and documentation. So, I have replaced all the articles, performed hand wash, and now I'll go for documentation. So in documentation here, as you can see that in this chart, what I will document is indication. For example, if the patient was suffering from pneumonia, so I will write here pneumonia or any other indication that your child may be suffering from. Then date and time of procedure. So today date is 30 or 1st May and time of procedure is 10 a.m. Secretion description. So it is very important that we mention the secretions that the patient has expectorated, the amount, color, consistency and odor. All these findings can help us to know about the progress of the patient as well as the diagnosis of the patient, any changes or any complications are there or not. Then strength or productiveness of cuff, if the cuff was strong or weak, whether the patient was able to expectorate or not. Then vital signs, before the procedure, during the procedure. When we are performing the procedure on the client, we have to monitor the vital signs. After the procedure, I have to monitor the vital signs. In vital signs, it includes heart rate, BP, respiratory rate, SpO2 levels. So all these 4 things need to be monitored throughout the procedure, before and after the procedure. After this, resolution or persistence of indication. For example, here the mucus plugging got resolved, or any indication that was present gets resolved or not. Then comfort during the procedure. Whether the patient was comfortable or not, I have to mention that. And any adverse outcomes like chest pain, tachycardia, palpitations, hemoptysis, hematomesis, or any other complications seen in the patient, we have to document this and then we are ready to go. Thank you.